Good morning, this is Don the Idea Guy from dontheideaguy.com. It is Thursday, November 3rd, and this is episode 38 of Running Through My Mind, the only daily podcast that's broadcast from a parking lot. This morning I am drinking some delicious Colombian Cheer blend coffee from our sponsor DripJoy. If you want to learn more about Colombian Cheer or some of the other blends that I've been trying over the course of the past few weeks of the sponsorship, you can go to dontheideaguy.com/DripJoy and you can get details on my favorite blends and how maybe, if you're interested, you can sign up and have them send some of their samples to you as well. That's dontheideaguy.com/DripJoy. Okay, so on this Thursday, what's running through my mind? Well, last night was the World Series, Indians v. Cubs, and being the Cleveland boy that I was born and raised as, I, of course, rooted for the Tribe, and we did not win. Sadly so, the Indians did not win. It was a good series. It went out 7 games, in case you weren't following it or you're listening to this in the far-flung future and wonder about what this World Series is of which I speak, just in case the podcast is around that long. It went out 7 games, and it was, back and forth, and the Indians would pull ahead, and then the Cubbies would tie it up, and man, I was really hoping that they were going to win it in the 6th game, and that didn't happen. So we go out to 7. It's a game at home at Cleveland, and man, they lost by a run. I mean, that's all it takes, right? And I wanted to talk about, what happens when you suffer a defeat in your life, in your work. I'm coming from a sales background, and in sales, your job is basically to be told no all day long, one right after another some days. And that's a lot of negativity to have to face. I mean, that's the gig. You get told no. So what do you do when you don't just face a gigantic defeat, like in an epic level World Series type event, but just on a daily basis where, things didn't go your way. And more specifically about, losing a sale. What happens when you're told no, or what happens when you just get beat bad? The worst thing that you can do is simply disappear. I've seen salespeople do that so many times that, even from my perspective as the buyer, where, I'm choosing between, let's say, 2 different companies, and usually it's more than that, right? I'm choosing between 2 choices, and somebody's going to get the order and somebody's not. And for the guy who gets the order, that's wonderful. For the guy who didn't get the order, that's a no. That's a defeat. You got beat. It may not even been your fault. It may have been you lost out on a very subtle difference that because it was a Thursday, you didn't get the sale. And the worst thing you can do is disappear. I actually wrote an article about this, and I'll link to it in the show notes. It was I wrote it on the Don the Idea Guy blog, where I talked about, what can a salesperson do after they lose the sale? When they win the sale, they celebrate and they do their happy dance and they start thinking about how they're going to spend their commission check. When they lose, they vanish. Like, I never heard from this company again that was trying to sell advertising. We were choosing between 2 different ones. We bought company A, company B lost out, and it wasn't necessarily because they were more expensive. I think we actually went with the more expensive company, but their backup service, their transparency of what they did just wasn't open enough for me to be able to look inside and be able to make adjustments to strategy as we went. And the smaller group, even though it was more expensive, was more nimble, and this larger group just wasn't because of their size. Now, the smaller group was an unknown. They've been in business a few years, but not the decades that the larger media company had been in. And they did not have strong systems in place because it was very individualized service. the larger company had a lot more systems. It was a lot more productized, and I didn't know which one was going to work better. I went with the one I thought was going to work better. But the larger company could have stayed in touch and just asked how things were going every once in a while, or sent me news articles to read about. I had obviously let them know that I was a big marketing geek, and I'm throwing out terms to them that would certainly have let them know that I was studied on this topic. But they just vanished. We've never heard from them again. And there were a couple of times in dealing with the new group that I certainly went, oh man, what if we had gone with the other group? And it would have been a chance to try the larger group out on maybe a smaller project, or to ask them what they would have done in this instance, just to weigh the two together. But they vanished. So the worst thing you can do when you lose a sale or suffer a defeat is to disappear. You need to stay present in your audience's mind. Jumping back to the Indians example, the worst thing the Indians can do now is hide their heads and sequester themselves from society. I mean, they should be doing the almost victory tour, and they should be doing all the shows, all the talk shows. Certainly in Cleveland, they're still huge heroes, and that's the fan base. So, you made it all the way to the final game of the World Series, and you're a Cleveland team. That's huge. It's been a great year for sports. I mean, go on the shows that are comparing the Cavs win to the Indians almost win. Sell the hell out of the Indians merchandise and prep for next year. Start selling the 2017 World Series shirts now. Don't disappear. Stay present in your audience's mind. Certainly your fans and people who want to see you succeed want to know that you're still around and you're holding your head high. So when you suffer a defeat, don't disappear. Maintain a presence and come up with a strategy to win the next time. What are the things that did not go so well this time around that you have control over and could adjust for the next similar circumstance? What are the things that worked really well that you want to make sure you repeat? What got you that far in the process? And let's try that again on the next project, even in some small way. Make small adjustments to your next efforts. And what new things do you want to try? So you have the things that went right, the things that went wrong. What's something you didn't get a chance to try? What thing had been scratching at the back of your brain saying, what if we did this? Well, you certainly had nothing to lose. You might even go back to that company who told you no and talk about this new topic. Is there some other product offer, some other service offer that you could bring up that they may have said no to that initial proposal? Is there another proposal? You got that far along in the process. There must have been some rapport. They must have liked you and part of your offer, or you wouldn't have been down to the final two. Is there some other smaller project that you could get started working on, so when it's time to reevaluate a decision in the future, you might be brought back in on the initial project that you originally lost out on? So there's some tips of things that you can do when you suffer a defeat, big or small. Hopefully it'll help you in your next battle where maybe you don't come out on top. That's been it for Thursday. We'll be back tomorrow to close out the week with you. Until then, if you want more information about me or want to check out some of the blog posts I mentioned, of course, I'll link up some stuff in the show notes, but I have decades of content available for you to comb through, and I've got a little widget in the right rail of dontheideaguy.com that tells you what the most popular articles and pages are on the website. But I think I'm going to start reaching back into the archives and sharing some stuff. Because, man, I read some old articles and I'm like, wow, that still holds up. And if you're just finding me now in the podcast, you never would have even known that old article was there. So I think maybe we'll do a past show about greatest hits or something. That's it for today. Visit dontheideaguy.com. Leave a question or a comment about the show. If something you heard inspires you or you want me to dive deeper on it, go ahead and do that. We just did that with yesterday's show. One of the listeners listened to episode 33, shot me an email, said, that's exactly where I am with my business now. How would you approach this? And he talked about launching a course in freelancing. And we did a whole episode just yesterday on ideas for helping him kickstart his course. And he tweeted me back and said that he loved the concepts and he was going to put those into action now. And I'm betting you could probably apply some of those concepts to you. So if you missed yesterday's show, go back and listen to it. It was especially customized for a listener. And that's it. I'll talk to you tomorrow. You can locate me on Twitter or LinkedIn or Facebook, any place. You can always find Don the Idea Guy, or just visit dontheideaguy.com.